Conor McGregor suffers from psychosis. He's not mentally stable, all right? And it's been like this since his loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov in 2018. In this video, I'm going to be exposing that, all right? Like, listen, there hasn't been an exposed video on Conor McGregor yet, and I feel like there's no better person to do it than me because I'm the only real creator on this app. As far as that, I keep the same energy for many fighters. Now, as you guys know, Guru loves to expose Jones for stuff like this, but Guru likes Conor. He's a European fellow, not countryman. I don't know if they're from the same country or whatever, but they're from the same region. Guru would never touch this. And listen, that's why you got people like me. I'm going to keep it real, and I'm going to tell you guys how I figured out and how I know this guy is suffering mentally and how I knew he was suffering mentally. So, for starters, of course, we see what's happening with him. It's all over the news, all over social media, bro. He's looking very guilty in the grape case, okay? I'm gonna say grape, the SA case, you know what I'm saying? And it's looking really bad for him. Like, it's almost like it's kind of GG's, but you'll notice like a lot of UFC fighters and a lot of UFC fans are backing and supporting Conor, as they should be, because they're a fan of his sport, they're a fan of who he is, so they want to back him up to make sure they can see him again in the octagon. But am I here to back him up? I'm not here to bring anyone down, but I'm not here to back him up. I'm really just here to say the truth. Whether this is backing him up or not, all I'm going to do in this video is say the truth, and I'm going to expose this guy because he is suffering mentally from psychosis, and I'm going to get into that right now. So for starters, for those who don't know what psychosis is, it's a mental illness pretty much, and it makes you struggle with your behaviors. It's right before you get your full-blown schizophrenic, you're usually psychosis. Now, these are some of the behavioral symptoms. Obviously, when you have something, all the symptoms aren't going to correlate. But for Conor McGregor, a lot of these tend to correlate. First of all, the inappropriate behavior, which is pretty much what this case is about. It's about inappropriate behavior that's not the best. And it just says acting in a way that's not suitable for the situation. Now, I would say this case that we're currently reviewing is not suitable in that aspect of like what's normal in the human realm. One other thing I want to emphasize for the symptoms is the disorganized thinking with Conor McGregor, having difficulty communicating, speaking in jumbled way. Anyone who knows Conor, and I don't know who actually knows Conor watching this video, if you're actually a real fan, if you see the way he's been speaking, specifically during the lead up in the Khabib fight and after the Khabib fight, because I feel like the Khabib fight was what brought him over the edge, what made him like kind of lose it fully. The way he was speaking, the disorganized speaking, the repetitive words patterns, all this shit, bro. In addition, thing is unusual movements. I don't know if you guys ever seen Conor always moving something, like, you know, he's always doing something, and it's not his fault. He doesn't understand why he's doing it. It's just because he's struggling. Odd speech kind of correlates with the disorganized thinking. Lack of motivation. You guys are probably gonna be like, yo, dude, Conor McGregor is the most motivated person in the world, and some of that has truth to it. For example, young Conor. Let's take a good look at young Conor when he was actually motivated, before the Khabib loss broke him down. Let's actually take a good look at motivated young Conor. 2014. Keep in mind, this is well before the Khabib fight.
Conor, you slipped my jab there. I asked you what it was like to party with him. I mean, it was a good answer, but you totally slipped my jab. What's it like to party with him?
Partying is weakness for the soul, my friend, so I try and avoid it. My name.
Wait. Are we talking about the same Conor? Partying is weakness for the soul. I try to stay away from it. And he was, at the time, he was. But like I said, this is well before Conor was full-blown, you know, struggling. So don't be surprised hearing this now. You're probably like, dude, what does this even mean, dude? I've never expected Conor. Like, this is so cowabunga of him to say. That was motivated Conor. And due to the symptoms, he's going to have a lack of motivation because I feel like he's going through, like I said, psychosis. And you can see in this video the difference when motivated Conor compared to Conor right now. So just from that clip alone, honestly, from the clips in the video you just saw, motivated Conor is so different, but now due to symptoms, he has lack of motivation, which has having a reduced ability to start tasks or lack of interest in like finishing the task, etc. You see he has like fights booked that we actually think he's going to fight, but we don't know deep down that he's struggling too much, so he's going to find a way to pull out or push the fight there because he just doesn't have it. So these are the big things that I feel like is like implying to him. Also, changes in mood can correlate to lack of motivation. So like if initially, like he could go from hyperactivity to inactivity, which we've seen. Like he was a hyperactive fighter, goes to inactivity, etc., etc. Pretty much all these things are aligning very well with Conor McGregor. Now that this case happened, bro, and we're seeing more and more stuff, we're kind of seeing the resemblance. Now I feel like you guys are kind of with me now. Let's keep going into this because I want to talk about this date specifically. So now let me just go to the origin date. Why did this happen to Conor? How can such a motivated person all of a sudden become psychotic and struggle mentally? I'm gonna get into that. This man right here, Khabib Nurmagomedov, when he defeated Conor McGregor, it broke him. And why did it break him? The stakes going up to this fight, the amount of things Conor said to the guy, all these aggressive. I'm gonna even show you guys some of the smack talk because some of it was kind of fucked. He would go too far, I feel like, talking about like religion and like all these other stuff. But let's watch some of the highlights of this press conference.
My message, like without everybody. Why you don't say?
Look how frustrated
We're
he
gonna
gets.
fight. We're gonna fight 6 October. See.
I hope so.
See.
I hope so, because if you pull out like you always do pull out, may
Who?
God have mercy on your soul.
Who
And trust
pull
me on
out?
that. You
Who pull
little
out?
pull out
No,
merchant.
sit down.
Shut
We're gonna
your
talk.
mouth.
We're gonna
Shut-
change
if you'd have
something.
got off that, if you'd have got off that,
Puss, you be dead now. Okay?
you'd be dead and I'd be in a.
You'll be dead and I'll be in the cell. He's making death threats to him. He's going in on him. You can see Conor already at this point. He's a little bit like okay. He might be struggling a little bit mentally. Now, Conor's always talking smack. This smack talk seemed a little bit more excessive and personal. He must have had some kind of like hatred for real for Khabib, because the kind of smack talk he was saying Khabib was for real. Now, the stakes with this, when you're coming in here like threatening someone's life, you know, he talked about his religion, all that stuff, called his manager a terrorist, all this stuff. Even he called him a backwards cunt, like, you know what I'm saying, when he wouldn't drink because he's like, I don't drink because his religion, whatever. Conor was getting at him, Conor was attacking him, Conor was showing no respect for this guy. Conor showed that I don't like this guy at all. Now, it's the worst thing ever when you actually have real hatred for your opponent. You're violating everything the guy stands for, everything they do, and then you get destroyed by him. Now, I'm not gonna really show what happened in the fight, but real ones know when they actually fought. Let me just say this. It was a bad beating. It was like he was smashing his face. He was talking to him. Now, that's when he got destroyed. This is when the switch flipped. If you guys didn't know, the case that we're looking at right now from this Nikita Hand woman, this was from December 2018. That's when the situation actually happened. It's just being brought into light in 2024. Now, this fight happened October 6, 2018. Now, I've seen some articles of the woman saying, and I quote, oh, put him in a chokehold. This is how he felt when he tapped 3 times. And I'm going to show you guys what I mean when I'm saying this. So you can see right here in this article. You can see in this article that ESPN still has up that you can check right now. It says, McGregor put her in the chokehold several times and later told her, now you know how I felt in the octagon where I tapped out 3 times, referring to his UFC championship fight with Khabib, etc., etc., etc. Now, when people initially saw this, this is what their defense was. Conor was. This is something Conor would never say. This Conor, he's a rational thinker. He thinks rationally. He just doesn't just say stuff like this. This is so fake, and I don't think so. Keep in mind, this is only about 2 months, less than 2 months after he just tapped out to Khabib. He's at this point, you're doing all that smack talking, then you got embarrassed really badly and choked out in front of all your fans, all the Irish fans that showed out to support him. And at this point, you could already see before the fight, he was kind of struggling the way he was like attacking Khabib for his religion, the character, all this stuff. And then he gets embarrassed by the guy. Now, after that, this situation happens. It's not, you probably think, okay, but that's just lucky timing, you know. I still think he's innocent, bro. Conor says things logically. Okay, so people who think Conor's a logical speaker and speaks very smartly and he would never say something like this. Let's take a look at some of Conor McGregor's Twitter videos. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to play some evidence here. Now, keep in mind, like I said, the behavioral symptoms for this psychosis that I'm talking about right now is odd speech, which includes speaking quickly, speaking in monotone or using strange language, and also the disorganized thinking. It says having difficulty communicating, speaking in a jumbled way, or using the wrong words. So pretty much, like, you're gonna hear repetitive speech. If they're saying the same thing repetitively, that's another symptom. And you can look at any of these Twitter audio clips that Conor posts that he's definitely not rationally thinking. He's definitely struggling somewhere mentally. Just listen to these. Listen. Repetitive words. Remember the key things that point to this diagnosis. Repetitive words, saying the same thing, speaking in a mumbled way, having disorganized thoughts, not speaking correctly. Listen to Conor McGregor in this video now. Just listen.
The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter has ever seen. The most power Twitter's ever seen.
It literally sounds like he's speaking in repetition, in different tones of voice, monotone. He goes high, he goes low. He's speaking very differently, very bizarrely. This is not a coincidence. And keep in mind, this is a major symptom, bro. People with psychosis may exhibit a variety of speech patterns, including I'm not even know how to say these words, so I'm not even going to try to butcher it. And it is a rare speech disorder that causes people to involuntarily repeat words, phrases, or sentences they've just spoken. If you look at that video, he quite literally did exactly that. Like, quite literally. Just look at the way he says this.
The most power Twitter has ever seen.
He doesn't
The
stop.
most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter has ever laid eyes on. The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power Twitter's ever seen. The most power.
But nah, bro, he probably didn't tell the woman, this is how I felt when I tapped 3 times, because he's a rational speaker, right? That's what you guys are saying. That's what the people who are defending Conor are saying. Now, there's so much more of these clips. I think this one's funny, when he interviewed himself as acting like he was a schmo.
Schmo, what's the crack, my man? Yeah, what's happening? Conor, thanks for taking the call. So, I'm the schmo, and how do you feel about last night, Conor? what's the crack, lad? Schmowsy, what's the crack? So last night, yeah, I actually logged off before the pay-per-view began. Right, made a prelim card, the whole shebang, and then that ended. And then before I switched over to the pay-per-view,
man. And that was the end of that. Just jumble the words, interviewing himself. Now, people look at this and they laugh, and I understand you might think it's funny, but you guys actually aren't quite grasping like that he's literally going through something. He's kind of struggling. They're not seeing it, bro. They don't see what I'm talking about. So they're gonna be like, when they see stuff like this, oh, what do you mean he put her in the chokehold and said this is how I felt when I tapped? They'd be like, Conor would never say something like that. Conor's a smart thinker. He talks smart. No, he doesn't. I don't know where you even got that narrative from, that Conor all of a sudden is a very intellectual speaker. He just know. You guys are just trying your hardest to defend him. And I'm saying all this started because he got tapped by Khabib. Khabib Nurmagomedov's the one who broke him. When you have all these stakes going into a fight, then all of a sudden you get tapped out, you get embarrassed in the way you did, you get dropped on the feet, supposed to be your best art, and then you get choked out after you get smothered. That's what breaks an opponent. That's what breaks someone mentally. After that, you can see in every single one of his things. He even went through a little phase, actually, if you guys remember, when he went against I believe it was Cowboy. He was very respectful. Even Dustin, the first time, he went suddenly from respectful, oh, I love you, Dustin, blah, blah, and all of a sudden back to the evil Conor. Like, he's going through like mood switches, mood changes, different things, and this is all included in the disorder I was talking about. So this is why I'm saying that you guys might think it's funny. You might think, oh man, maybe he just the woman's trying to win money off him. Let me say this. First of all, the reward to risk value is so much worse for the woman. Like, people, I remember I was live streaming this and people said earlier that like the woman's just doing it because the reward is so high and the risk is not that high. I disagree. She gets this case passed. She essentially gets, Conor's probably getting put in prison and probably gonna have to pay a fine. That's the best case scenario for her. Now, what's the risk to that? People who are Conor McGregor fans coming and trying to kill you. That's literally what it is. That's the risk. That's the risk to reward. So no, I don't think your life is as big as a reward of just what some people are saying clout. Oh, I can't be asked. Clout? Oh yeah, that's the girl who Conor's. People will try to kill. People will backhand you for that. I ain't no clout. You won't get nothing from that. People saying the risk to reward ratio is beneficial for the woman. It's not, dude. That's not true. Like, the truth of the matter is, Conor McGregor is probably guilty here. And trust me, I get the narrative, and I get people are gonna try to back Conor because they love him, but they're not looking at like things objectively. They're just looking at things as if like, oh, we're UFC fans, so we gotta back Conor because we want to see him fight again. This, that, and the third. And I get, trust me, even though I think it's dumb, I still get the narrative, and I still get why people would want to do that. But I'm saying the right thing. If the right thing is done, I really don't think this guy is innocent. And I feel like the fall off all started because Khabib Nurmagomedov took his soul in that octagon. After Khabib took his soul, he never fully recovered and he kind of lost his mind. And we laugh at it because when we see someone online doing some stuff that, oh, I would never do that. Oh, what's he saying? Why is he saying all this yap stuff? Why is he doing all this stuff? We see stuff like that and we're like, that's just hilarious. I think it's funny. But we don't know the guy's actually struggling internally and mentally. And I think Conor is struggling mentally. And I think Conor does have psychosis. And I feel like a lot of people don't want to look at it at that point of view because then it's going to make him look more guilty. But the truth of the matter, this guy should probably be institutionalized, bro, because it's only going to get worse. People are like, he has money. I mean, I've said people heard this argument like, he has money, he has all this stuff, why would he go and ruin his relationship with his wife and do all this stuff and just risk his life by doing that to a woman? First of all, I don't know if people know this, but there's so much instances where Conor McGregor, and literally in front of his wife, has been like touching on women, and then like she walks in, she sees him, he hops away. Bro, it's just like, it's so obvious. And I honestly feel bad for his wife. I seen so much images of her like after like the trial, walking out when he was looked at as guilty in that civil case. Like, she was just looking at him like disappointment. I feel bad. I'll be real, I feel bad for her, but I also think she's just with him still for money, because why else would she be with him? Maybe the child too. The child probably helps, but I really feel like overall she's with him because the guy's wealthy. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. But I still feel bad for the woman in itself, just because she has to be around this guy while he's going through like cases like this, touching up on people. And people like Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev, they called this out way back when. Khabib dropped a tweet that's like now going viral. I think it was 2019 he dropped a tweet, which was like a year after, calling Conor a rapist. This was the tweet right here, and this tweet was 2019, posted by Khabib. Let me move my camera a little bit. Pretty much he says, rapist, you are rapist. You are a hypocrite who is not responsible for your actions. Justice will find you. We will see. At McGregor. And it's so weird that Khabib called this out like years ago, because it kind of ended up being true. And like he sees him with a picture of him with a woman. And this is crazy that this actually happened, because suddenly, now all of a sudden, like he's getting the spotlight of, oh, did he do this? Did he do that? And I don't think it's coincidental. And I don't think it's coincidental how all this kind of started after Khabib kind of destroyed him and embarrassed him. Conor's always been talking smack his whole life. He's always been confident his whole life. It's a difference between confidence and like just straight up craziness. And it's clear to see when the split and the divide happened. Went from someone who said, I would never party, dude. I would never party, to somebody who started his own whiskey brand and just gets drunk to it every single day. The truth of the matter is, you can't live that lifestyle every day without having something a little bit up with you. You see the way he talks, the way he jumbles his words up. It's not okay, but people are going to look past. They're just going to look past this because they love McGregor, because he's a money maker and like he's a fan favorite. But fan favorite aside, money maker aside, bias aside, you got to look at it objectively. Conor McGregor is struggling with psychosis, and no one wants to point it out. No one wants to call it out because they don't want to say it. But listen, I'm going to say it because I see it, and I'm going to open up people's eyes to it. Maybe after watching this video, you're going to be like, oh shit, Kenny was spitting. I actually see where he's going with this. But that's it for me, bro. Let me know what y'all think about this whole situation. Honestly, I feel bad for Conor's wife. It sucks to see Conor go through this, because seeing him in 2014, how different of a person he was, how motivated he was, seeing him now, it kind of sucks too. But let me know what y'all think. I think the guy's lost his mind. That's it for me, man. And God bless. 2, 3, 4.